welcome to the 7 Days Report Show. I'm your host, Vasilios Nikolaos Vitsilogiannis. Your reliable source of information is here every weekend at 12 and 21. We delve into the past week's major news and bring you all the information. Our show starts right now. Ukrainian military intelligence reported significant casualties among North Korean troops fighting alongside Russian forces in the Kursk region. On December 16th, the main Directorate of Intelligence, GUR, announced that at least 30 North Korean soldiers were killed or wounded during recent clashes near the villages of Martinovka, Plakovo, and Vorozhba. This marks the first detailed account of North Korean losses since their deployment to support Russia's military efforts in Ukraine. The GUR indicated that these casualties occurred over the weekend as Russian forces attempted to suppress a Ukrainian advance that began in August. Reports suggest that at least 3 North Korean soldiers are currently unaccounted for in the region. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky noted that the involvement of North Korean troops has increased, with Moscow reportedly integrating them into operational units to bolster their offensive capabilities. Independent verification of the casualty figures remains elusive despite these developments, and the Kremlin has yet to respond to these claims. Military analysts have pointed out ongoing challenges in communication and coordination between Russian and North Korean forces, which could hinder operational effectiveness in the region. A bomb hidden in an electric scooter has resulted in the death of a senior Russian general, Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov, who was in charge of the country's nuclear protection forces. The explosion occurred early on December 17, 2024, near a residential building on Ryazansky Prospect, approximately 4 miles southeast of the Kremlin. Alongside Kirillov, his aide was also killed in the blast. The Russian Investigative Committee confirmed that the bomb contained around 300 grams of high explosives, causing significant damage to nearby vehicles and the entrance of the apartment complex. Graphic images shared on social media depicted the aftermath, with 2 bodies lying in blood-stained snow amid debris from the explosion. This incident marks one of the most audacious attacks since Russia's invasion of Ukraine began nearly 3 years ago. Just a day prior to his death, Ukrainian prosecutors had charged Kirillov in absentia for alleged involvement in chemical weapon use against Ukrainian forces. The investigation into this bombing is ongoing, with authorities examining all possible leads related to the attack. Inflation in the Eurozone has risen to 2.3% in November 2024, slightly below expectations of 2.4%, marking a modest increase from 2.0% in October. This uptick reflects ongoing economic adjustments as energy prices continue to stabilize following significant declines last year due to geopolitical tensions, particularly the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Germany stands out with an inflation rate of 2.4%, surpassing the Eurozone average and indicating persistent economic pressures within the country. Belgium reported the highest inflation rate at 4.8%, while France and Italy remained below 2%. The core inflation rate, which excludes volatile items like food and energy, held steady at 2.7%, suggesting that underlying price pressures are stabilizing. The European Central Bank, ECB, is closely monitoring these developments as the latest data may influence its monetary policy decisions. While the ECB aims to maintain inflation around 2%, the slight increase in consumer prices could lead to discussions about potential interest rate adjustments in upcoming meetings. Overall, while inflation is rising, it is doing so at a slower pace than anticipated, providing a mixed outlook for the Eurozone's economic recovery. A tragic incident occurred in Argentina when a Bombardier Challenger 300 private jet crashed into residential homes after overshooting the runway at San Fernando International Airport. The aircraft, registered as LV Gok, was returning from Punta del Este, Uruguay, when it failed to stop during landing and veered off the runway. Both the pilot, Martin Fernandez Loza, 44, and co-pilot, Agustino Forte, 35, were killed in the crash. The jet collided with several houses, igniting a fire that prompted a significant emergency response. Fortunately, residents had been evacuated prior to the crash, and no fatalities occurred among them. However, a 73-year-old man was hospitalized due to injuries sustained during the incident. Eyewitnesses reported hearing multiple explosions as the jet struck the homes and described scenes of chaos as flames engulfed the area. Authorities are investigating the cause of the crash, with preliminary reports suggesting potential brake failure as a contributing factor. The incident has raised concerns about aviation safety in residential areas surrounding airports. A series of missile attacks struck Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, and the southern city of Kherson on the morning of December 20th, 2024, resulting in fatalities and significant damage. In Kyiv, at least one person was killed and several others injured as explosions rocked multiple districts, including Holosivsky and Solomiansky. The Ukrainian Air Force reported that 5 ballistic missiles were fired at the city, with air defenses intercepting all but some debris that caused destruction on the ground. Mayor Vitaly Klitschko confirmed that emergency services were deployed to manage fires ignited by the falling debris and to assist the injured. In Kherson, heavy artillery shelling led to 1 death and 6 injuries as residential areas were targeted. The attacks coincided with Russian President Vladimir Putin's end-of-year speech, where he dismissed calls for a truce, intensifying fears of continued aggression in the region. The strikes in both cities reflect a troubling escalation in hostilities, with Ukrainian authorities urging vigilance as they brace for further assaults amid ongoing conflict. That was 7 Days Report. I want to thank you for being here with us all this time. I'm your host, Vasilios Nikolaos Vitsilogiannis. We'll be back in a few hours. Have a nice weekend.